Welcome back to the BL Show, brought to you by White Claw Hard Seltzer, and it's great mixed with Tito's. I've got Julie on the line from California. Have you tried the raspberry or the lemon lime yet, Jules?
Raspberry Tito's.
Like at the beret?
I had a little, I'm going to name drop here for a second. Do you mind?
Do we ever not just name drop the whole show? We're going to have to. How do we get any stories out? We're not going to get into the good glue unless we name drop.
So I was living in Austin, Texas, and I have a little boy, and he was little at the time, and we had tons of neighborhood kids, and they'd all come to our house. So there were some new kids hanging out in my living room, and I wasn't familiar with them, and it wasn't odd or anything. Everybody usually brought their friends, and so it was pickup time, and the father came in to get his son, and it was Tito. And I had no idea that the entire afternoon Tito's kid had been hanging out in my living room.
The handmade vodka, actual Tito, was right there with his 38 credit cards racked up that he took to build his business. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Was he a nice dude, or was he just what's his story? He didn't get into too much, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't talk too much, but it was just kind of cool because after having, a crew of kids in your house on a Friday afternoon, you're grabbing that bottle of Tito's. So I was mixing myself a nice little cocktail, and here comes Tito.
And you can pick up the Hard Claw seltzer, which is available in 4 or 5 flavors. All of them you can think of. A lot of bars are carrying it now, and also some Walgreens also has the White Claw seltzer. So ask for it. It's distilled by J.J. Taylor in Tampa, Florida. So, Julie, I went to, of course, I have my drive-through, my hamburger addiction. Okay. I used to go to, you're always making fun of me because
Can you hear my head shaking?
I know, because you're all about nutrition and you eat sawed up picnic benches out there in Laguna Beach. So anyway, I love my hamburger addiction. Okay. I used to go to Rhymes with Bendy's with that braided little chick, whatever, whoever that is. And all of a sudden I fall in love with this place called Culver's. And it's national. It's a drive-through food chain, right?
It's delicious, but it's delicious.
It is delicious. I pull up, I go, hi, I'd like to get a kids meal, and do I get the complimentary concrete of the day, which is the little shake? And anyway, they got their whole kids meal, and you get that free when you order the kids meal. So I'm ordering it, and they're like, "Are you a kid, or is this for a child?" I'm like, "No, I'm just a smaller lady, and I can't eat a big old piece of meat." And they said, "Easy, biggin." And so anyway, they said, "Oh, no problem." So they got to know me. And before you know it, I've been going to Culver's for almost 3 months. And this is not a plug. This is, nothing to do with anything. And now I go up to the speaker. I roll up in the busted SUV. And they're like, BL, go ahead and pull around. They call me by my first name at Culver's. They can't even see me. So that is the relationships that I form.
That's the first sign of a problem.
But no, it's
the
good hamburgers. Tasty.
Those kids meals that you get, because every time I talk to you on the phone, you're going through a drive-through every single time. But those Culver's kids meals, they have, if you rip off the little tab on the bag and you save up like 12 of them, you get a free meal.
Oh.
Not that I'm condoning your behavior, but...
Oh, and then they also, I remember I do pull up, I say, "Hey, you got the Tuesday $2 cheeseburger, plain with just cheese?" And they're like, "Just a bun?" I'm like, "Yeah." So anyway, that's how I don't know what's going to happen to my heart, but they're not greasy or anything. The Bendy's place was, the Rhymes with. Anyway.
Not a fan.
Yeah, but anyway, it's so cool and their staff is so nice. They jog ketchup back and forth in 105 degrees heat in Florida. So I will keep on going to
So
Culver's.
being the fast food connoisseur with your highly refined taste, so what would be, because our family often has this contest. So what would be your top burger? Who's the top burger in America?
I'd say In-N-Out.
No, really?
I love In-N-Out burger. Yeah, I really do.
We
Yeah.
got to go there at least once a week, but I'm telling you, a good Whataburger. Have you ever had Whataburger?
I had Whataburger. Hans and I, my late ex-husband Hans and I, we would be laying there in the Craftmatic bed. We got a divorce because the Craftmatic bed, he got my leg caught in the hinge, and it cranked up his side, and it almost broke my kneecap. So I woke up that night and he said, "Well, I'll take you over to Whataburger." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So I hobbled out there into the car, and we went and just got down on some good hamburgers. But
Man, they have good everything. Their breakfast, those little chicken biscuits, those honey buttered chicken biscuits, good God Almighty, those are
do
good.
you like my honey biscuits,
I like
Schweddy?
my biscuit buttered.
Would you like to feel my biscuits?
Are we going there?
No, we're not. Welcome to the BL Show. I'm BL, featuring Julie Williams. Julie, standing by.
I got you.
You got me, baby?
Yes.
How's-
Can you?
Hey, how's your blurred lines today?
You know, it's so weird because I so rarely get sick. And wouldn't you know, it's Murphy's Law that the week you start your show, here I am. It sounds like I've been sucking on Pall Malls behind the 7-Eleven.
I'm glad you brought down, I'm glad you, sorry, glad you brought up Pall Malls because I'd be real nervous. That could have gone south.
What? See how you did that?
Mm-hmm.
See how you did that?
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm getting back in that saddle, baby. Remember all those years we had together? And it'd be a party of 5 or 6. Now it's a party of you and me, which is totally fine. And we've got Tom on the board back there. Hi, Tommy. Welcome to you.
Hello, ladies.
He's our producer, and he's got our back. So, Jules, what's going on today? After the blurred lines, I'm thinking all I can see is you on the dance floor in the 90s in the hottest outfit, just with your arms in the air, like you don't care, whatever that song was that you used to dance to. Oh my God, all I can do is picture you out there.
Those were the days, right?
What do you do now?
Those are,
You momming so hard like those 2 chicks?
oh my gosh. I am soccer mom. I spent the morning at Whole Foods getting snacks, putting together, little goodie bags for the soccer team tomorrow. I'm a snore bore, VL.
Well, do you ever just turn on, because I know guys and girls, if you just, and I'm dating myself, right? But do you guys ever just turn on your iPod and like crank up stuff from the 70s and the stuff we grew up, well, Julie, you're a little young for the 70s, but I mean, I grew up to Neil Young and just anything you can think of. I was, because both my brothers were noms, so they played all that music. And then I learned to love the 80s and the 90s. But do you ever just shut the windows and the drapes and just start dancing around in your bra and your panties?
No, can't say I do.
Oh,
no,
Jules.
no. Maybe I should try it.
It'll make you feel so good. It really will. Sometimes I do. And I mean, I would never wear a tee back in front of a guy. But sometimes I'll I just don't. Because, it's just tee backs are not for people over 30. They're just not. But I wear them.
We need to tell everybody shopping at Walmart that little tidbit.
I love Wally World. I love Target. I do it all. But if you throw on a nice tee back and you put on, actually the half shirt is coming back. Did you see that? Adidas has just brought that. Did you see it?
No.
Well,
No.
Oh.
That Just no.
I loved that. You'd bend over just a little bit and you'd get that undercup look, and guys could get a little peek. But that is making a comeback. And I saw that Adidas has it in their stores, and pretty sexy. And I'll be wearing one in my house with some tea backs, and I'll be putting one on my iPod.
Well, I think everybody just ripped their knob off.
Okay, Shwetty. Hey, Shwetty, how you doing today? Shwetty, are you a little sick from the family? What's the issue out there in Southern California?
I can't even remember the last time I got sick, but I've been sick all week, and it's just gotten progressively worse. And it's just weird. But then I was complaining yesterday to all of them, and one of them in particular kept darting his eyes in the other direction, and I'm like, why are you acting so weird? And he's like, well, he was sick last week. And he said, well, I might have accidentally taken a drink out of your cup.
Oh, boy.
And he didn't tell me. And then I drank it. I drank my own cup that he contaminated.
My mom always taught me never let anybody use your hairbrush or your lipstick because you get problems.
And I'm straight up Howie Mandel when it comes to that stuff. I'm a germaphobe. I don't like to drink after people. I don't like people drinking after me. I don't like kissing on the mouth. I wipe everything down. Like I'm sterile. I don't like any of it.
If someone took a drink off my straw and I had a fresh Tito's and a nice
White Claw,
a nice White Claw topper, raspberry or lemon lime, and I could burn a great drink because somebody will go, could I taste that? And it's no offense because so many of my the few girlfriends I hang out with now, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't like people drinking off my straw.
I mean, look, the human mouth is filthy. It's filthy. It just is. I don't care how many Listerine tabs you shoot in your mouth. Like, it's just filthy. And so the fact that, I mean, I'll tell you what really makes me crazy, or what used to make me nuts. When my kids were small and we would have family or friends who would go to kiss my kids hello or goodbye, and they'd kiss them on the mouth. Oh, hell no. Like, you need to back up. Do not put your lips on my kids. I think that's just, we kiss on the forehead because there's just too much funk floating around there all the time. And with kids in elementary school, you just never know. So we just kiss on the forehead. It's safe.
My grandma would tongue me every time I went over for some butterscotch candy, and it made me very uncomfortable. No, I'm kidding. But you're exactly right. I don't like any sort of frontal kissing that doesn't involve someone you love. And it's weird. Even my mother, she's 86. I'll even, we don't kiss. I mean, people have cold sores, questionable problems, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have one family member who always has a fever blister, and that family member is the one who always wants to lay their lips on my kids. And it's like, do you not realize that's contagious?
Do you say stuff to them? No, do you say, hello, family member down the street? Do you have a problem where you're, if it's inside the root of your canal of your mouth, that's what's so scary. And I don't know. It just, I got my PVC shots. I don't know what that is, but they just said, you want a PVC shot? I said, sure. I had it.
PVC, like a plumbing tool, like a PVC pipe?
Oh, yeah. I hit the plumbing place every 6 months. I always have. And they say, you don't need to come in every 6 months. There's no issues. I'm like, okay, well, I lived through the 80s, and I know exactly how many gentlemen that had a piece of BL myself. I do. Every girl knows how many. If it's over 100, you still know how many. Guys, whatever. But going back to that, yeah. What about your doggy? Now, you have a great puppy in the family. Do you kiss that dog on the mouth?
No. You know what's weird? The last 2 dogs I've had, they're not lickers. They don't like to lick. So, I mean, which is a good thing because have you ever seen those weird people with fetishes that they'll like put peanut butter on their toes, and their dogs will lick their toes and stuff.
What?
Yeah, just spend an afternoon on YouTube instead of dancing around in your half shirt and your tea bag. Plug your YouTube in one day.
I'd rather have
YouTube
Nutella.
TV.
Yeah, I'd rather have Nutella on the toast. You eat a thing of Nutella, you'll have sex for about 19 hours, and you will not get out of bed. But yeah, to your point, I totally agree. And I don't know, and I see on Facebook all the time. I watch it a lot. I watch Facebook, especially since we have this show. This is the BL show, and this is Julie with me. But the weird part is, there are families that don't feel it's odd to just do a little smooch to your puppy. And we grew up with Labradors in our family, and Dachshunds. But, some people would disagree with us, and we are on the same side for once on this issue.
Well, I mean, it is scientifically proven that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
the
only problem is they're licking parts of their body that I probably don't want to taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, you left me in dead air there.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
But back to the kissing. I had this neighbor in Chicago who I adored. She was crazy, which made me, I just fell in love with her. But I had a next door neighbor with a baby. And then I had another neighbor who was, she had already finished having kids, but she still loved the baby. So she always wanted to hold our other neighbor's new baby.
Weird.
So
like
she would
that.
always be, she'd have the baby on her lap, and inevitably she would always wind up with her finger in the kid's mouth.
Ooh.
And if I was the mom, I couldn't do it. Like, because you don't know, she hadn't just washed her hands. You don't know where her hands had been before they were in your child's mouth. But what would prompt you to stick your finger in someone else's kid's mouth?
I have no idea, but I know I have a nub, which is the middle finger from the chopped off finger in the wreck, and that would make a great pacifier. I mean, if you can't find one. But the problem is there are nerve endings in a chopped off finger, and it makes me feel like sweaty alls when someone sucks on my nub. And I love it because the very first person, and I know you were in the room back in the Ron and Ron days, Bennington had Cy Sperlingen, the guy that invented, remember the hair pieces and they kind of glued on or whatever they did?
Yeah.
You'll have to go to cysperling.com for more information. I don't even know where Cy is, but Cy was in the
Was he the hair club guy?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Tom. A hair club for men. And he was in the studio and we were just hanging, and Bennington goes, yeah, that's our part-time phone screener when she's not drunk. And, she has a chopped off finger, and Cy's like, aw. And Bennington's like, well, why don't you go ahead and suck it? I'm like, well, okay, I'm good. So I went ahead and, it was still kind of sore. It was still 6 months out of the hospital. It was clean. There was no blood or anything. But anyways, Cy got down on it. He sucked that baby like he was Linda Lovelace. So that made me really happy. It was fun to have Cy. So he started the tradition of only celebrities were allowed to suck the nub. And no listener ever wanted to suck it. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, so that was my first entertainment with that situation. But the second one,
and it just grew from there.
It did grow. The only people that have,
I'm going right now.
You're in the BL show, and this is Julie with me. But the second one was when David Wells took us to the Aerosmith show, my late ex-husband Hans and I, and we were backstage, and we did a quick hello to him. Well, David is his friend. You know David and Nina, of course. You've been friends with Nina for years. And David was, the show was running so close that Steven Tyler had to get to his limo, so he didn't have time to hang around at all. So he came down off the steps, and of all people, he grabs Wells. Well, all of a sudden, he's just like, come on, walk me to my limo. We have to get out. We're late. We're going to get in all that traffic, and we won't make our flight. So Wellesley and Hans, myself, and Nina are walking with Steven. And Steven he's so kind, as you know, Julie. You've heard nice story. He's such a great guy. And I don't know him. It was all David. So he looks over and he says, oh, who's your friends? And Dave's like, yeah, she lost her finger in a drunk driver hit her or whatever. And Steven goes, oh, let me see your nub. So David goes, yeah, that's her nub. And so Steven goes, aw. And he went and he petted it like 3 times. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm going to get through this. I didn't say nothing. And David goes, oh, why don't you suck it, Steven? And he stuck in his mouth, and man, he went at it. And before he did it, he said, I've sucked worse. And so he got down on it. So that was it. That was I think I'm only at 2 that have done it. And then Super Bowl with the sports chicks. We ran into Deion Sanders at Radio Row. And you know Prime. And so Deion, we got him on as a guest. And you got all those 3 hot chicks running around. How are you not going to get all these, athletes on? So Deion looks over and he's like, oh, yeah, nice to meet you. And Lynn Austin says, hey, why don't you, she's got cut off finger. Why don't you suck it? And he just stood back in his gold bronze suit. And he was looking really good. And he stood back. He goes, Prime ain't sucking no fingers. So that was the last thing. And he never spoke to us again. He hated us on Radio Row. He was, I don't know, that's allegedly, I don't know, but he wouldn't do it. So anyway, that's enough about the nub on that one. But yeah.
Prime just didn't want Steven Tyler's sloppy second.
Yeah. Yesterday I blew a pump. Just a water pump on the way to work. So it was kind of a weird day. And I'm like, when you're on the radio, you don't have options like that. Were we not always taught by Ron to be ready to go no matter what happens or take off the day?
Yeah. I remember one time, I want to get back to this, not to shift gears, but I was doing show prep before the show, and I was reading, I was the only one that ever picked up a newspaper.
You were. We were always drunk or laughing or talking about name dropping, doing stuff, having fun. And poor Judy here, she was doing the prep. So, yes, please elaborate.
So I'm sitting there reading the newspaper, and only this would happen to me. I go to turn the newspaper page, and as I turn it, I turned it too close to my face, and the newspaper page paper cutted my eyeball. I am not kidding you. The paper, when I turned it, sliced my eyeball, and I couldn't see. And so I had to hit an urgent care on the way into the station to get a patch on my eye. Do you remember that day I showed up to the station with a patch on my eye?
Yes. Here's the thing. So you roll up, and the part is you kept show prepping with one patch. You had one eye. I mean, you could have rolled it down a bar, and you would.
One-Eye Williams reporting for duty, Benny.
Exactly. Pets are so expensive. I got a buddy. Remember we had that chick back in the Hooters radio days. She stuffed her dog, and it was a little like miniature chihuahua.
It sat on her coffee table.
It did. It sat on her coffee table, and she stuck a music box under its tail. I don't want to guess where where the whatever had to mount it. But that thing spun, and she named it Thumbelina. So when she got lonely, and you know what, though? There's a lot of pets that are nicer to people than some of our friends. And when we die, we have 4 people on our hand. That's it. That's what we have left, besides our family.
Yeah.
4 people left. You're one of mine, Judy.
So when you die, I'm going to have you stuffed and put you on my coffee table.
Can you stuff my fanga?
And I'm going to put something under your tail. I don't know what yet.
Can you stuff my nub? I love you guys, and thank you so much for my first week. Good night. Goodbye.